So in this week Parsha, Torah talks about chuk. What's the chuk? Chuk. Very good. Chuk is a law without a reason. Usually, when you make a law, there should be a reason for it. There should be some benefit to it. Why? Why you're not speed? Why you have to pay taxes? Why you're not to, commit a crime? There are reasons behind it. Torah, on the other hand, because it comes from God, not every law we have a reason for it. Some laws are logical. Obviously, you cannot steal, you cannot kill somebody, you cannot grab someone's property, right? You cannot. You cannot be. You have to be honest in your business. You cannot be dishonest. You cannot swear the name of God. These are things that make a lot of sense, and every nation in the world does it. There are some laws in the Torah that is very hard to understand. A very practical one. You cannot wear wool and linen together. Why? There's no reason for it. You cannot, eat meat and dairy together. Why?
Because God says so.
God says so. Other people eat it. Nothing happens to them. Other people wear it. They're all fine. You have to have a kosher shechita. You have to be kosher meat. Why? It's very hard to understand why. What's the difference between even a Jew is shechting the animal. If there's a small pagam, small problem with the knife, then the shechita is not kosher. But what happens? The animal didn't feel it. If it feels it, who cares? Why should that be a problem in my eating of the meat? So there are laws that don't generally, make sense. In this is Parsha, we have Parsha Paraduma. What's Paraduma? That if somebody is in an ohel, in a tent that there's a dead body, or if you touch the dead person, even not in an ohel, let's say on a gravesite, you touch the dead person, then you cannot go to Beit HaMikdash, you cannot eat anything holy, unless you go through a process of purification of Paraduma. So Paraduma itself didn't make sense. Why? Because Torah says we have to find a real red heifer, right? A cow, which cannot have more than one black hair. Two black hair is no good. It's blemish of the cow. It has to be fully red. Rashi says two black hair is a problem, right? One you can let go, but one black hair on all red cow, and then you have to burn it. First of all, Torah says you have to take it out of Beit HaMikdash, out of the machaneh, out of the camp. Usually, if you have a korban, it couldn't be even outside the mikdash. It has to be within the mikdash, right? Or within the mishkan. Here, not forget about Mishkan, forget about Yerushalayim. It has to be completely outside. And Rashi says, "Chutz l'shalosh machanot." All three camps, the Levim, the Kohanim, Levim, Israelim, everyone out. And then you have to shecht it. You have to sprinkle the blood of that cow, the red cow, towards the Mishkan. You are a few miles away, but you do it towards. That also never happened before. You always do it inside the Mishkan, towards the curtain. You don't go, 2-3 miles away. I'm mechaven. I have intention to direction of the Mishkan. You never seen in the Torah before. You have hundreds, dozens of korbanot. Nothing like this. You always do it right there. Well, on Yom Kippur in the week, it has to be there. How come all of a sudden Hashem is saying you have to go all the way, out of all the camps? And not only that, whoever the process of the paraduma would become tameh. Meaning if you burn the paraduma, you have to burn it, then you are tameh, right? The one who gathered the ashes, he is tameh. But if somebody is tameh, becomes tahor with it. So the Gemara has a very interesting expression. It says, "Metameh tahorim מטהר את הטמאים. פרה אדומה purifies the one who are not tahor, but makes people who are tahor tameh. So that's why Para Aduma is the epitome of chok. We have a lot of chok in the Torah. It said, shatnez, eating kosher. A lot of laws in Torah doesn't make sense. You cannot shave your beard with a razor, right? You cannot shave off your head. Torah says you're not allowed to shave sideburns. So those also chok. Well, why? I like to shave with the razor. I want to go bald. It's a style now out there. Torah says you cannot do it. Why? God said so. There's no real reason for it. But Torah calls here Chukat Torah. This is the chok. Because I'm going to tell you something. You go crazy. If you learn the Gemara in Yoma, the Mishnayot of Parah, even Shlomo Melech says, the technicality of this mitzvah doesn't make any sense. Even like, Sheni Tumah, Sheni Tumah, there are formulas how the Tumah works. When it comes here, it doesn't make sense. So this is something that nobody understood it. And Hashem says, Zot Chukat Torah. This is the law of the Torah. So Chachamim teach us that's how we keep the Torah. Which means, obviously, things that we don't understand, we do it anyways, because God said so. Even things that we do understand, we have to treat it like a chok. Meaning, you have to respect your parents, no matter what. So, is it logical? Of course. Your parents put so much money and effort and their time and their life into you. You have to pay back. You have to respect. But something doesn't make sense. Let's say if a father and a mother adopted a child the day he was born, right? And after 20 years, the original parents, the biological parents, come back to him. Who does the son or the daughter have to give respect to?
Biological.
The one who raised him, he has a hakarat hatov. He has to pay tribute because they really worked for him, right? But should have one of the Misab Torah goes to the biological parents. Why? Doesn't make sense. That's right. That's what Torah wants. You have a mitzvah to be nice to other people. You have to say hi, you have to say hello, good morning. Why? Because that's how society works.
But that makes sense.
Right. But let's say you are in a very bad mood that day. Does it exempt you from saying hi and greeting people with a smile?
No.
So even though it's something that makes sense, but Torah wants you to do it regardless, right? You can say, I'm only kind to people when I'm in a mood. I only go to shul when I am up to it. I only give tzedakah when my money is, above the roof. You can, which makes sense. At that time, you should give more because Torah says mitzvah is a law. Every mitzvah is a law. Torah has to be treated like a law, right? So obviously, you don't, respect your parents or you're nice to people. Say, oh, I'm nice to you because God said so. No, when you treat them with a smile, you want to be more personal. You don't want to say, oh God, no. I don't want to say hi to you, but I say it anyways because God says so. Because I'm Chavnagi. Nobody likes it. But Torah is a chok. We have to look at the Torah from perspective that if God says so, that's the best thing I should do. Right? Whether I like it or not, whether I am into it or not, whether I'm in a good mood or not. I got into a fight with my wife or with my partner, with my parents, with my siblings, with my friends. Today I'm off. I don't want to do anything. That's not how Torah we use it. We do it regardless, right? We do it because Hashem said so. Every mitzvah. There is a very famous Gemara. Gemara says, "Zot HaTorah Adam ki yamot ba'ohel." This is the law. This is the Torah. When a person dies in an ohel, what's the ohel? Ohel is a tent. So what's the famous Gemara? Gemara says, "Zot HaTorah." This is the Torah. Meaning you can only acquire Torah when a person dies in ohel. You have to kill yourself in ohel, in the tent of Torah, if you want to get Torah. No one can acquire Torah. No one can learn Torah unless you kill yourself over it. right? Memit asmo aleha, somebody who really goes, he deprives himself from a lot of pleasures of the world. If you want, you're into good food or vacations and taking your nap and sleeping, 10, 12 hours a night and watching your favorite TV show, then we're going to learn Torah. There's no time for Torah. Someone says, I'm put everything aside. I can eat bare minimum, whatever food I get, I'm happy. I'm going to put my time to learn Torah. He's the one who can learn Torah, right? The Gedolim, the big Torah scholars, how they become Torah? You know what Ramosha means? Ramosha Feinstein said. He said, I had a group of friends. They're all big Tanakh Chachamim, they're very big rabbis. I'm greater. I'm bigger. You know why? Because I never sat on my chair like the way I'm sitting. Ramosha always sat like this. I didn't use the comfort of the chair. You want to be comfortable, you lay back on the chair, right? And you want a chair that has a comfortable back seat so you could go back. Ramosha never lay back in his chair. Ramosha was like this all the time. So I was putting more pressure on myself. I became Rav Moshe Feinstein, the big Rav of New York. So maybe you're not there yet, like Rav Moshe, but the person is only, I have to have the best breakfast and best lunch and best dinner. I have to go to this restaurant. And, I have to, if you want to know every menu of every restaurant. Oh, there's another kosher restaurant opening. I want to see what people can learn Torah, right? Food is good. We need food, but not something that is focus. You're too shekamu, into food. Forget about Torah. If you're too much into drinking, forget about Torah. Take your time off. That Torah, Adam ki yamut ba'ohel. Person should die for it in ohel. Just like people go crazy to make money or to become famous or do something new or some innovation. Why? This is their life. They give their life for their purpose. That's my life. You want to acquire Torah, become a Torah scholar, you have to, sleepless nights. That's how a person should go. No, I don't recommend person staying up the whole night to learn Torah because the whole day tomorrow will be tired and can't learn. But the person, should put more of his energy on learning than other things. The person should get 7, 8, 10 hours. Whatever he needs to sleep, fine. But at the same time, comfort and pleasure should not be the focus of our life. The second part of the Torah talks about a very, sad situation. Miriam died. This is Parsha, and Miriam had this big zechut of having running water with her. So all 40 years, Jews had water because of Miriam. Last few months, because she died, they lost the water fountain, the well, and they went to complain to Moshe, what are we here for? We're going to die. So now, let's put it in the right perspective. The Torah was given, the stories of the Torah that we learned were given only in 2 years of the 40 years of the desert. Either the very first year or the very last year. For 38 years, Hashem didn't speak to Moshe as much. Or at least didn't give any prophecy to be written in the Torah. Maybe, that's a question, they want clarification, fine. So as soon as Shalach Lecha, which is last week's Parsha, happened, that the Meraglim, the spies came and said bad things about Israel, and Hashem punished them. That was end of Hashem talking to Moshe for a while, for almost 38 years. So from Parashat Shalach Lecha to Korach came also right after, to Chukat, there's a 38 years gap, basically. 38 years.
So what did they do on
They learned Torah, I guess. Moshe was teaching them what Hashem. There's a lot of new information. All the Gemara that we learned, that's how Moshe was doing. He was
in that 38
changing their mindset about how to live their life. If they were nice enough, they were, wise enough, they would come to learn. So now, here, the very last year, basically Hashem wanted to purge all the people who came out of Egypt, out of the population, This population is only children under 20 years old at the time who are going to go to Israel, except 4 people, right? Moshe, Aaron, Caleb, and Yoshua. These 4 people and Yoshua, right, will go inside Israel. So now this young generation comes to complain to Moshe. What do they say? They say, Moshe, we don't have water. What are we going to do? Let's go back to Egypt. Let's go back to Egypt. You're not Egyptian anymore. You were born you were very young when you left Egypt. That's 40 years ago, 38 years ago. Or you were even born here in the desert. So we know what Moshe did. Instead of talking to the rock, as Hashem commanded him to do, he hit the rock with a stick for 2 times, and that's it. Hashem said, Moshe, you and Aaron also cannot go. So basically, we only Caleb and Yoshua, right? And the new generation will go.
But God said to take your stick and talk to.
Right.
Why he had to take the stick?
That's part of the test. We'll see what Moshe does here. That was part of his thing. If Hashem said so, maybe he meant also you can use the stick, not only talking. He talked to the rock once or twice. He didn't listen. So, I'm going to hit you. So, unfortunately, in parenting also, parents talk once or twice. Say, no, I can't hit because the kid didn't listen to me. It's wrong. It should be a power of speech, not power of hitting. So now, I want to do something interesting. It says that, by the way, that was a very life-changing experience for Moshe, for Jews, for Aaron. They were waiting to go in, and that's it. Last minute, a few months before the entrance, they were called off. You cannot go in. And the history changed. So now, before we happened, at the time of this incident, the Jews are thirsty for water. What happened? Miriam dies, right? The Torah says, "Vayovu bnei Israel, kol ha'eda midbar." They came, the Jewish children, kol ha'eda, all the population, all the congregation, midbar Sin, to the desert of Sin. The first month, which is the, I guess Chodesh Rishon is the Chodesh Nisan, and Vayeshev Sham v'Kadesh, they were settling down in a place called Kadesh, but Tamot Sham Miriam died. So Miriam died in Nisan. I don't know if it was like Rosh Chodesh Nisan or somewhere during Nisan. Miriam died. So Rashi points out why he says Kol Ha'eda. All the population came. Obviously, who else comes? Everyone came to that location. So says Rashi, Eda Shelema. Kol Ha'eda, all the population means a complete population. Shkavar metu metem midbar. People who were supposed to die in the midbar, in the desert, they only died. You are left to live. You have a brand new generation. Your father, your mother, your parents, whoever was not supposed to go, they're not going to go. So, Chodesh Harishon, the first day of the 40th year, right, in Nisan, you have a pure generation. You have a pure generation. So now, if you look, this is in chapter 20 in Bamidbar, the first pasuk of chapter 20. If you go end of chapter 20, when Aaron actually is going to die, so it says Jews moved from Kadesh, where they were, Vayovu bnei Israel, the Jewish nation came, Kol Ha'eda, all the population, against Kol Ha'eda, Hor, to the mountain of Hor, which, Aaron goes up there and doesn't come back anymore. So over there, also it says Kol Ha'eda, all the population. Again, it says Kol Ha'eda. That's such a common wording in the Torah. All the population. Jews came. The Torah says extra 2 words. Kol Ha'eda. Rashi says again, Kulam Shalamim, all were complete. They were about to enter the land of Israel. Shlo Haya Bahen was not among them, אחד מאותו שנגזר עליהם, from the ones that they were supposed to die. Because they only died in the desert. ואלה מאותן שכתוב בהן, these are the people that Torah will call them, חיים כולכם, you are alive, you're going to leave, don't worry, you're going to go to Israel. So Rashi says twice, כל העדה means all the population that they're not going to die. One here, when Miriam died, one when Aaron is about to die. Right? So do you believe that Rashi has to say the same idea twice? Meaning Rashi says Torah needed to say Kol Haida to say everybody died, and then again say, oh, few days later, a few months later, by the way, everybody died. We already know that. He already told us, 20 Pesukim earlier.
Yeah.
It took 20 Pesuks to repeat what he said. Rashi doesn't repeat himself. So Ramban asks on Rashi. Ramban says, Rashi, don't say that. This is a wrong translation or wrong understanding of the pasuk. That's not how you understand the pasuk. So Ibn Ezra says that because we find a war in between here and there, a war between Edom, which is Esau's children, and Israel. And because there was a war, Hashem had to repeat himself to say everybody was fine. Kolam Shalemim, they're all complete. Nobody died. In these few months between Miriam's death and Aaron's death, everyone is just perfect. Why? Because war people die. Hashem wanted to say, no, none of you guys are going to die. You're going to all go to Israel. You're good. People who were supposed to die, be dead, they're dead by now. That's what the Ezra says. Ramban argues, and then I don't like Rashi's translation that Kol Adam means everybody was supposed to die, they died. I don't like even Ezra's translation that because of the war with Edom, Hashem had to report again because there was no war. Jews actually, they went the other way. They didn't want to start a war with Edom. So, of course, nobody died because there was no war in the end. So says Ramban, and Ramban says, no. You know why we said Kol Ha'eda, all the population twice? Every time that Jews complain, that's the wording. Kol Ha'eda, all the population. Go through a list of places that Torah said Kol Ha'eda and had to do with complaining. Here it says Kol Ha'eda, people are coming on water.
I see.
Over there it says Kol Ha'eda because complaining about Aaron's death, they didn't want Aaron to die. It says that in Shemot, Kol Ha'eda, Kol Adat Ben Israel, they're all complain after complaint. Unfortunately, when Jews complain, they all complain together. So it says Kol Ha'eda, all the population. Then it says, listen to this. So that's what the Ramban says. So my Rabbi Ramin said another understanding. He said that Kol Ha'eda. Thank you, Shabbat Shalom. It says, the first Kol Ha'eda, even according to Rashi, that Rashi wants to say that everyone was supposed to be dead is dead. Hashem brought a new nation pretty much close to go to Israel. You can't go to Israel just like that. You have to be tested. Do you deserve to have Moshe Rabbeinu? You don't deserve to have Moshe Rabbeinu. If Moshe goes with them, it's a different story. Moshe can do things above nature. Only Moshe could have done it. As they go to Israel, the open miracles are going to stop. You don't want to see opening the ocean. You won't see. They stop one more time as they cross, but that was it. You won't see man coming. You won't see clouds coming. You won't see things that always happen in the Torah. That's it. That's the end of the story. So Hashem wanted to test. Here, the first time, all the new nation, Kol Ha'eda, the new generation, to see, do you deserve Moshe? Unfortunately, did not deserve. they failed. Moshe also made a mistake. He hit the rock, right? So the second one, there's a Kol Ha'edah, new generation, without the leaders. Aaron and Moshe are going to be gone. Aaron right here, the second time, Moshe, end of the Torah, right? So the same, reporting, but two different messages. The first message is that that Jews, you have to be tested. Let's see how you're going to pass the test. Unfortunately, the new generation also failed the test, just like the first ones did. So Hashem said, you're going to go to Israel. I promised you. But without Moshe Rabbeinu, without the great leader, without Aaron. So you see here that two totally different plans of God. The first plan was with Moshe and Aaron, a new generation, and that would be the most optimal life in Israel. But you have to be tested. You don't get something for free so fast. You have to be tested. Because unfortunately they didn't pass the test. The second Kol Ha'edah came. Now you're all ready to go, but forget about Aaron and you forget about Moshe.
How much do we have to be tested?
Huh?
That's the question.
All life.
Right?
Okay, yeah.
38 years have been tested.
Life is a test. Shabbat Shalom.
תודה רבה. חזק ברוך.
חזק ואמץ.